and welcome to another episode of Coterie TV. I am Carrie and I am with the fabulous Nathan Mikita. He is the Director of New Media at Foodable. Welcome,
yes,
Nathan.
I am. Thank you so much, Carrie.
We just wanted to have a bit of a chat because we've actually started up a partnership. So we've let you guys know a little bit, but we've started up a partnership between Foodable and Coterie Hospitality, which is a new show on Foodable being Front of House, which is the new marketing podcast.
Correct.
And we wanted to give you a little bit of behind the scenes on what we're doing, but also to understand a bit more the functionality of podcasts. So you can just, I guess, just get a little bit more of an understanding.
Sure.
So do you want to kind of step us through how you wanted to have a marketing podcast?
Yeah, so, podcasts obviously are kind of old and new at the same time. They went through proliferation, I guess you could say, and then kind of died down and then kind of made their way back. And we're seeing a lot of new content in the space. So Foodable, I should say, Paul Barron actually had...
Paul Barron being the chief?
Yes, the editor-in-chief and CEO of Foodable. He had a couple different podcasts that he ran a few years back, and then we kind of got out of the space and we went to full video. But we're getting back into the space now, and we've launched a couple new shows in the Barron Report in front of house. We have another one coming up called Restaurant Tech, which I'm actually going to be hosting. And then we have another one called Wine Trends. Or I'm sorry, it's Some Wine Talk.
Yeah.
Which will be coming up towards the end of the year. So in our research, we started to, like I said, see a whole bunch of new players in the space, but not a lot of great players, especially in the restaurant and hospitality space. And in education, there wasn't a lot going on there. So we started playing around with the idea of a marketing podcast, and we fortunately got to meet you and got to see your educational product, and we thought, wow, what a great fit. You guys had already kind of set up those programs and those education
with
sites.
The academy,
with the academy.
Yeah.
And we thought that would be great to share with a greater audience, with our audience.
Yeah,
so.
and also having a look that, one thing that we definitely see in this industry is so many moving parts. You don't know what the government's going to be changing. Also with, the economy, education is going to be that fundamental element to stabilise.
Right.
And I'd have to say that, podcast has been around for a while, but how do we take it forward to be a really solid multimedia channel that's going to be of use? And what we're seeing is the opportunity is to give really solid strategies and a kind of on the go. You might not have time to be sitting and reading books and going through manuals, but can you be doing something audio and on the go, but giving real-time tips that you can take back to your business? So in understanding now that this is an education podcast, that's a business side of things. Nate, how do we make it interesting where visually you've got a lot of, you can get the colour and a lot more moving parts, but audio, how do you make audio interesting and what we can expect to, see more of with front of house?
Sure, and we started collaborating on the show. One of the things we really wanted to do was really capture people up front with real world experiences, right? So we decided to go with a method of almost like an anecdotal theater aspect to the opening of the front of house episodes.
Yeah.
We wanted to immerse people in sound. Bring them into the restaurants, bring the restaurant sound, bring them into our mama's kitchen and hear her cooking. And, episode 3 we did on the streets of Chicago, so we wanted to bring some of those city aspects into...
And I just want to touch on that just a little bit to show you the complexity that Foodable, from their expertise, are bringing into the audio side of things. So we've got our third podcast for Front of House was having a look at real-time opinions from customers as to why they wouldn't go into their business. Now, the structure of a podcast, with a lot of podcasts that you may hear as well, is you'll either have a host or you'll have a guest talking. And we wanted to bring a different kind of element to it, which was going on the streets.
Right.
Yeah, so that's from Podcast 3. So and that was here, we're here in Chicago.
Correct.
Take them through just a little bit of understanding what that process was and talking to people and doing some interviews, and then how you kind of brought that into the theatre of the podcast.
Sure, so the episode revolved around a a couple different situations that consumers experience every day. So the idea was we came up with a set of topics, and rather than just have a guest come on and just like kind of talk about it from their experience, we thought it'd be really cool to get actual consumers in actual restaurant situations talking about those experiences.
But we've also got to remember we have to do that because at the end of the day, they are the ones that pay the bills.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we did reservations. We asked a lot of questions about that. We asked about, how you pick a restaurant, where is the touch points, how do you first assess where you want to go, is it a word of mouth thing, or are you going, Googling the restaurant and looking at reviews, how are you doing that? And then we talked about, being actually in a restaurant in ambiance. What are some of the things that you notice? Is it the open kitchen? Is it the food theater that keeps you coming back? Is it, the music? Is it the smells of the food? And we did that in a couple restaurants actually in Chicago where people were sitting in the restaurant, and we asked them what's this experience like? What do you like? What do you don't like? What would make you come back? What would make you not come back?
Yeah.
So, and I thought it was a really interesting way to get that across.
Yeah, and because, we don't want to get too, education is really important, but we don't want it to get too stagnant, or too black and white. So, putting some, elements in there because it is hospitality. We're not selling widgets, we're not selling funeral plans or, or insurance. We're not selling funeral plans, are we?
No.
No. And we're not selling insurance. It is creative. So if we can start to, kind of influence that as well for what you guys do in your business as well. So it's really exciting to kind of push around those boundaries. Because when we first met, it was really about you guys going, we need to have our point of difference as well. Because there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
There are people that do it well, and there are people that don't do it well. And if you don't know enough about podcasts, you're not really going to, you can fall straight into that stream as well. So as much as we teach you about having your point of difference, we also have to have the point of difference as well.
Right.
And
we really
what are some of those elements?
Well, we really want to bring that real life aspect to it, right? We really want to connect the education to things that are actually practically happening in the space, in the real world. And I think that's the whole point of our show, Front of House.
Yeah.
And if we can accomplish that, and I think we're on the right track. I mean, it's hugely valuable to our audience to be able to, hear here's what we need to do, here's the practical application of it, and here's the result.
And the other thing is we're always going to be giving you some takeaways because we want those tangible elements so it motivates you. Because otherwise, it's literally going to be humming or, it's just the theatre. That's us making it interesting for you, but we need to give you those takeaways every single episode so you can start to implement this stuff, back into your business because we want you to come back and stay with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're really excited. We've just started, so it's front of house. Where can they find that?
So you can find it on Foodable TV in our shows section, podcast Front of House. And you can also find it on iTunes, just Front of House.
Yeah. So we're really excited to welcome you aboard to download Front of House show and just give you some behind the scenes of some of the stuff that we're doing and maybe just a little bit more of an understanding, why podcast, what is it all about? And it gives me an opportunity to sit with my mate who loves espresso martinis just as much as me.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for the chat and hopefully we'll be able to chat to Foodable some more and get some more insight into the media world. So I'm Carrie and this is Nathan and thank you for joining us again with Coterie TV.
Bye, Coterie TV.